Hi, everybody. This is another live broadcast for the TBC community. This is my broadcast number 136. Okay, we're having a fantastic week here at TBC as always. I want to first go over what was said at the Send Button meeting, and it's on the blog. Just a couple of updates that were brought up, which a lot of us have broadcasters already talked about, but I want to bring it up again. Hi, Christina. Thanks for joining. Let me go over here to the broadcast, to the blog. Okay, two major announcements this week. We are eliminating the send button test. This test has served its purpose, and now the public notices and KCBO dashboard are more than enough to show our full disclosure of what TBC is and how to properly use it. This will increase our speed to sign up new members by removing this step. Each individual is responsible for their own education about TBC, and with over 3,000 blog posts, no one can say admin is not providing a complete education on TBC in our Kringles society. Okay, so this is another thing that admin is doing, like he says here at the bottom. Admin is always looking for ways to support our efforts, or to support your efforts, which is our efforts, to bring in new members so we can reach our objective of having 1 billion members, which will lead us to fulfilling our mission of ending poverty globally. Okay, so he's constantly doing this, and this is just another good thing that he's done, because this just speeds up the process of people registering and getting to the point where they can turn around and immediately start to bring in their family members and their friends. Okay, so this is all good. And it was a perfect timing again to do this. The second major change that he's talked about on Monday, or he wanted us to know about, is that they are removing the gift from the cookie rewards. Okay, now nothing else is changing. All the other cookie rewards we get for doing all these things in the promotions, we still get those cookies. They're still redeemable every May and November. But the gift part, okay, used to be a part of that also, and people had to wait before they can actually see the Kringles in their wallet. So that's no longer going to be that way. It's going to immediately give them the actual Kringle coins in their TBC 009 wallet, and they won't have to wait. Okay, so this is huge. To me, this was just the greatest thing to read on Sunday night or Monday, whenever it was morning, even before the Senate meeting came on. I read this. Okay, so he says we're removing the gift from the cookie rewards and waiting to get it until a redemption period. The gift is a gift of 250 Kringle coins now, not 25,000 cookie tokens, right? Now it's straight up 250 Kringle coins, which will be placed right into the TBC 009 wallets as soon as the 8-grain admin fee has been paid within 24 hours of that confirmed payment, ongoing and retroactive to all that have already paid the 8-grain admin fee for the first time. So it's going to go back and pay everybody who has already done that. They've got their cookies. It's going to it's immediately going to be changed, and they're going to see the 250 coins in their Kringle wallet, TBC 009 wallet. Okay, now this means that the new members will have access to spendable coins instead of cookies soon after they have signed up, which they can immediately use with our participating merchants. Now, he says the 8-grain admin fee is 100 times smaller than the value of the gift. I like to kind of reverse it and say the value of this gift is 100 times larger than the 8-grain admin fee. Either way, you're going to get across to people when you're talking to them and you're letting them know that that's what they're getting. Okay, they're getting 100 times their value on that $20 fee. And that's just the first month. Okay, if they don't want to keep up with the $20 payment, they don't have to. But the whole point is it offers not only residual income opportunity for people who need cash right now, but it also just grows the community that much faster. All right, and let's see what else, if there's anything else. Um, he just says consider the cost is about $22 to pay the admin fee, and the new member will immediately get about $2,200 of spendable coins, and the more and more merchants, and more merchants are accepting our coins every day. That should not be a hard sell, even in the poorest countries. And then he ends it by saying again, by saying admin is always looking for ways to support your efforts to bring in new members so we can reach our objective of having 1 billion members, which will lead us to fulfilling our mission of ending poverty globally. So that's the new and exciting news for the week. Now, and actually, I was watching Randy Wilson's broadcast from earlier today, and he touches on where that money goes. Someone had asked in the on his live broadcast, why did we go from the $10 to the $20, $10 a year to $20 a month? And it's just it is real simple. Randy made it real simple. Is how are we paying for TBC, right? How is TBC even in existence? It takes money. This is a worldwide operation. Okay, seriously, we're going to have the website. Everybody gets their own website with all the information they could possibly ask for to educate them in ways that they'd have to pay a whole much more money to get that kind of education that's available to them for $20 a month. And the extra costs, those extra fees help admin to do all the things that they still have to do. We have to be able to handle 1 billion people, and then eventually the 7.5 billion people that live on this earth, right? There's got to be the wallets for everyone, and there's got to be the information, and there's got to be all that technology that goes along with securing our coin. Okay, and it's like that with every single cryptocurrency and digital currency that's on the markets. It's the same thing. It takes money to do these things, and the technology and the security and all of that. So it's just that simple. It's just that simple. Okay, and again, all you have to do is go out and find 2 other people and give the gift of $2,200 worth for $20 a month. Okay, and you are free of having to make that monthly payment because you've got $10 coming in, right? 50% of that comes back to you every single month that your people continue to make their $20 a month admin fee. Okay, so I think that's about all that I wanted to touch on when it came to the latest blog, because everybody else has touched on everything else. So let me take a look and see. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about. Let's see if I get this right here. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, one thing that I like to do every day, first off, is to check the blog. After I check the blog, I go over, because I just love Mbae's video where he talks about digital gold. And he has given that to the entire community to replicate and put our own information on and use it as a way to introduce what we're doing. It's so professional and so nice. And I just watch it every day to get that information back into my mind so that it's there all the time. Okay. And I just feel like it would be a good thing a good way for you guys, for everybody in the community, to spend 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and go over that video every day, and you just have that in your head. Okay. In fact, let me see if I can do something here. I'm going to see it now. I don't know really how to know whether I'm getting sound from the videos that I'm showing. I know when Darren does it, it sounds great, Darren Hayward, but I don't know if there's a special way or not. Let's see, Chrome wants to use share entire screen. Okay. I haven't seen this before. I'm getting used again to doing live broadcasts. Okay. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. Let me know if you can. Also, let me know if you can't hear the video. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. Also, let me know. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I was playing that other thing right over everything I was saying. That just kind of basically ruined the first 15 minutes of this broadcast, unless I got lucky. Okay. It's so well written. Okay. It's so well done that if you watch that every day, those words are going to just sink into you, and you're going to be able to just read them off. I mean, read them off. You're going to be able to just talk, and because you're going to memorize that whole thing. It's only 3 minutes. Okay. And it's so well written that it gets to the points really, really well of what this gift is and what we are all about. I mean, that's the best concentrated 3 minutes I've seen or heard. And so I just go ahead and watch it. In fact, to be honest, I watch it about 3 times a day, and I've got most of it memorized. And it just gives me a whole lot more confidence when I'm going out and around to be able to talk. I know that I'm going to be able to get something across quickly to people, and so I'm really very, very grateful for MBay for doing that. Okay, and you can find that uh, in the blog. Okay, and you can go ahead and use software to replicate it, and then it lets you put in your own description and all those things. Okay, now let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about today quickly. Okay, that's it. Now, one thing I wanted to do is this is one of my favorite books, okay? And The Creature from Jekyll Island is a book that talks, it's about 800 something pages, talks about the creation of the Federal Reserve, the central banking system here in America. And basically, it's worldwide. There's only a few countries that have stopped or don't currently have or have refused to cooperate with the central banking system. Here in America, it's called the Federal Reserve. You got the European Central Bank, which uses the euro. That's the European Union. You know what's going on if you're aware of what's going on in the world. That the people of Britain are tired of it. They want to leave it, and Theresa May does not want that to happen because she's part of the system, the cabal, the cartel, and the European Union is scared to death if if they do actually leave, because that's just going to say to the other countries, well, if Britain could do it and their economy is doing great without it, then we don't need it either. Okay, especially countries that are already not liking it, like Italy. They'll be the next one right after Britain. But anyway, I wanted to. This book is a very, very thick book, but it is a fascinating read. But I wanted to just go over a couple of things in this book to bring you guys a little history lesson on what this current economic system is all about and why we are slaves to it, and the power of TBC and what it is going to bring to this world. Now, in spite of what everything else is going on, Trump, the Patriots here in America, he's got plans. They've got plans to restructure the entire Federal Reserve. He's got current power over not most of it, but he's got enough power to keep them from raising their interest rates. In fact, Dave over at X22 Report believes that they're actually going to lower the interest rates between now and the end of this year one more time. And he'll have them do that to keep the economy looking really good through 2020. And then after he's elected again for his second term, then he's going to go ahead and get rid of or restructure the Federal Reserve. In spite of all that, and come out with his own money system, America's money system. If it stays a US dollar, it's going to be backed by gold, or confidence is going to be in gold. Whatever he's going to do, it's going to be the best thing in the world. But because we've been on the system since 1913. But you need to know, have a little bit of knowledge about what this economy and how it's been manipulated since 1913, how it got started, what it's about, so that you can appreciate what this alternative but yet parallel system of economy, method of exchange that we have here in our community, our TBC community, and our private Kringle Cash Society, that you can have something to really, really look forward to. Okay. So I've got this book on PDF. So let me go here and I'm just going to read a few things. Okay. I'm not going to go into or read the entire book. That'd be crazy. But if you hear anything that you're interested in, then and you don't have the book, get the book. The PDF you might find free if you look hard enough. But the book is well worth the $20 that I paid for it a long time ago. And you can find out all the details because it reads really like a detective story. Okay, so in the beginning of the book, it's by G. Edward Griffin, and he says this thick books can be intimidating. We tend to put off reading them until we have a suitably large block of time, which is to say, often they are never read. That is the reason a preview has been placed at the beginning and a summary at the end of each chapter. All of these together can be read in about an hour, although they will not contain details nor documentation. They will cover the major points and will provide an overview of the complete story. The best way to read this book, therefore, is to begin with the previews of each section, followed by the chapter previews and summaries. Even if the reader is not in a hurry, this is still an excellent approach. A look at the map before the journey makes it easier to grapple with a topic such as this, which spans so much history. Okay, now I'm going to go down. I'm scrolling down here. Past the table of contents and the preface. Okay, there is a part at the bottom of the preface I want to read off. It says the Federal Reserve System should be abolished for the following reasons. It is incapable of accomplishing its stated objectives. Okay, that's going to be in detail in chapter 1. Okay, now the next thing it says is it is a cartel operating against the public interest. That's going to be gone over in chapter 3. It is a supreme instrument of usury. Okay, that's in chapter 10. That's interest that they charge. Okay, then it says it generates our most unfair tax. That's in chapter 10 also. It encourages war. It goes over that in chapter 14. It destabilizes the economy. Goes over that in chapter 23. It is an instrument of totalitarianism, chapters 5 and 26. This is a story about limitless money and hidden global power. The good news is that it is as fascinating as any work of fiction could be, and this, I trust, will add both pleasure and excitement to the learning process. The bad news is that every detail of what follows is true. Okay, now I'm going to scroll down through the acknowledgments, and here's a part that's really interesting. Under introduction, he says the following exchange was published in the British humor magazine Punch on April 3rd, 1957. It is reprinted here as an appropriate introduction and as a mental exercise to limber the mind for the material contained in this book. And it's a question and answer type thing. And the question is, the first one says, what are banks for? Answer, to make money. Question, for the customers? Answer, for the banks. Question, why doesn't bank advertising mention this? Answer, it would not be in good taste. but it is mentioned by implication in references to reserves of $249 million or thereabouts. That is the money that they have made. Question, out of the customers? Answer, I suppose so. Question, they always they also mention assets of 500 million or thereabouts. Have they made that too? Answer, not exactly. That is the money they use to make money. Question, I see. And they keep it in a safe somewhere? Answer, not at all. They lend it to customers. Question, I see. Oh, then they haven't got it? Answer, no. Then how is it assets? Answer, they maintain that it would be if they got it back. Question, but they must have some money in a safe somewhere? Answer, yes, usually 500 million or thereabouts. This is called liabilities. Question, but if they've got it, how can they be liable for it? Answer, because it isn't theirs. Question, then why do they have it? Answer, it has been lent to them by customers. Question, you mean customers lend banks money? Answer, in effect, they put money into their accounts, so it is really lent to the banks. Question, and what do the banks do with it? Answer, lend it to other customers. Question, but you said that money they lent to other people was assets. Answer, yes. Question, then assets and liabilities must be the same thing? Answer, you can't really say that. Question, but you've just said it. If I put 100 into my account, the bank is liable to have to pay it back, so it's liabilities. But they go and lend it to someone else, and he is liable to have to pay it back, so it's assets. It's the same $100, isn't it? Answer, yes, but, and that's goes on and says, then it cancels out. It means, doesn't it, that banks haven't really any money at all? Answer, theoretically. Question, never mind theoretically. And if they haven't any money, where do they get their reserves of $249 million or thereabouts? Now, keep in mind, this was written in 1957 or 53, whatever I said earlier. Answer, I told you that is the money they have made. Question, how? Answer, well, when they lend your $100 to someone, they charge him interest. Question, how much? Answer, it depends on the bank rate. Say 5.5%. That's their profit. Question, why isn't it my profit? Isn't it my money? Answer, it's the theory of banking practice that, question, when I lend them my $100, why don't I charge them interest? Answer, you do. Question, you don't say. How much? Answer, it depends on the bank rate, say 0.5%. Question, grasping of me rather? Answer, but that's only if you're not going to draw the money out again. Question, but of course, I'm going to draw it out again. If I hadn't wanted to draw it out again, I could have buried it in the garden, couldn't I? Scrolling back up here. Answer, they wouldn't like you to draw it out again. Question, why not? If I keep it there, you say it's a liability. Wouldn't they be glad if I reduced their liabilities by removing it? Answer, no, because if you remove it, they can't lend it to anyone else. Question, but if I wanted to remove it, they'd have to let me? Answer, certainly. Question, but suppose they've already lent it to another customer. Answer, then they'll let you have someone else's money. Question, but suppose he wants his too and they've let me have it. Answer, you're being purposely obtuse. Question, I think I'm being acute. What if everyone wanted their money at once? Answer. It's the theory of banking practice that they never would. Question. So what banks bank on is not having to meet their commitments? Answer. I wouldn't say that. Question. Naturally. Well, if there's nothing else you think you can tell me? Answer. Quite so. Now you can go off and open a banking account. Question. Just one last question. Answer, of course. Question. Wouldn't I do better to go off and open up a bank? I I enjoy that every time I read it. Okay, in section one, people like to know right off what the creature is. And Griffin says, what is the Federal Reserve System? The answer may surprise you. It is not federal and there are no reserves. Okay, and there's more, but I'm not going to read it all. Okay, now in chapter one, it gives a review about what the chapter is going to be about. And it says the secret meeting on Jekyll Island in Georgia at which the Federal Reserve was conceived, the birth of a banking cartel to protect its members from competition, a strategy of how to convince Congress and the public that this cartel was an agency of the United States government. Okay, so that's what the first chapter is going to tell you about. If you get the book and read it, it is fascinating, people. All right, now I'm going to scroll down here until I get to the summary. Of the first chapter. Give me a second, hang on. Okay, in the summary, it says the basic plan for the Federal Reserve System was drafted at a secret meeting held in November of 1910 at the private resort of J.P. Morgan on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. Those who attended represented the great financial institutions of Wall Street and indirectly Europe as well. The reason for secrecy was simple. Had it been known that rival factions of the banking community had joined together, the public would have been alerted to the possibility that the bankers were plotting an agreement in restraint of trade, which is, of course, is exactly what they were doing. Okay, they didn't want a capitalistic system. Okay, keep that in mind. Here, I'm going to go on here. What emerged was a cartel agreement with 5 objectives: stop the growing competition from the nation's newer banks, obtain a franchise to create money out of nothing for the purpose of lending, get control of the reserves of all banks so that the more reckless ones would not be exposed to currency drains and bank runs, get the taxpayer to pick up this. I lost my. Hang on. Okay. Um, okay. Get the taxpayers to pick up their cartel's inevitable losses and convince Congress that the purpose was to protect the public. It was realized that the bankers would have to become partners with the politicians and that the structure of the cartel would have to be a central bank. The record shows that the Fed has failed to achieve its stated objectives. This is because those were never its true goals. As a banking cartel, and in terms of the 5 objectives stated above, it has been an unqualified success. Okay, so yeah, that first chapter was long. It was fascinating. It is fascinating. And I should probably just mention the 7 people that were part of that meeting that day, because it will come up later if I continue to do some of this in my broadcasts. Okay, Nelson W. Aldrich. Okay, he was the Republican whip in the Senate and the chairman of the National Monetary Commission. He is also, or was, the father-in-law to John D. Rockefeller Jr. Okay, the second was Henry P. Davison, senior partner of the J.P. Morgan Company. Number 3 was Charles D. Norton, president of First National Bank of New York. And 4th was A. Piatt. If I mispronounce these names, I haven't had time to look them up. Andrew, A. Piatt Andrew, or Piatt Andrew, Assistant Secretary of the Treasury. All right. Number 5, Frank A. Vanderlip, President of the National City Bank of New York, representing William Rockefeller. Number 6 was Benjamin Strong, head of J.P. Morgan's Bankers Trust Company, later to become head of the system. And then 7 was Paul M. Warburg, a partner in Kuhn, Loeb and Company, representing the Rothschilds and Warburgs in Europe. Okay, 7 unbelievably powerful people. And then it shows their pictures in the book. Okay, so that's it. I'll go over chapter 2s and on and on and on whenever I get a chance, when I have time during these broadcasts. And it will help you to get a basic understanding of the system we've been in. Not only you and I, but our parents. Okay, I'm 62, so my parents were born 1926. Okay, and the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913. So there's a lot of exciting things about this, and this will be a good way to educate yourselves quickly in the basics. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else here. Okay, I don't think so. So that's it. Thanks, guys, for watching and listening. And I'll see you guys on the next live broadcast. So continue to have a fantastic week. And like I said, do as much study as you can every day, even if it's just 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes on the things that you know you need to know, so that you can go on and pass this thing out, the gift out, and know that the future is really looking good. Okay, because again, this is an outside parallel monetary system that our mission is all about. We, the people, have control of this. Nobody else does. No government agencies, nothing. Okay? So it is the greatest thing that we have ever seen in our lifetime. As far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest thing that the history of mankind has ever seen. And it's simply because the technology has arrived. All right. So keep your chins up and rock on.